So I would like to talk about cults and the psychology behind cults, behind cult members and behind cult leaders. I was in what people call a cult, and I want to believe it's a tribe, but what's the difference between a cult and a tribe? I heard somebody say the other day that a cult is a culture gone bad. And recently I just been looking into other, which people will call cults, and I see the similarities, and it is crazy. It's kind of scary, but I had a tendency to want to hold the people that they of the cult members like accountable. The people that you call victims, I want to hold them accountable for their actions. But I'm actually looking more into psychology, and I want to understand like indoctrination. Not only how someone can be indoctrinated, but how do you indoctrinate people in our cults? Because in our cults, like, can cults be good? You know, are cult leaders created or are they born? Are narcissists created or are they born? And where's the purity in narcissism? Where's the purity in these children that can grow up to be dangerous leaders? So I have a belief system that, you know, everything, even all the good and the bad, has a source to it. So I believe that even if a child is born and, you know, you can see signs of a lack of empathy, it's like you can, through the environment, you can change, you know, them, or would that be indoctrinate them? Would that be like the environment will cultivate them to be more what we would call civilized, right? I think we came from a lot of narcissists. You know, a lot of leaders are narcissistic. A lot of groups are cults. So, you know, what's the difference between the ones that we highlight and the ones that are behind the scenes, you know? And it's crazy because I feel like this is something we have to go deeper into, because majority of our people, like when majority agrees on something, then we deem it as truth. That don't mean it is truth, but we just majority agree, yeah, we're going to call this a cult. So when other people are doing cult type things, then we don't deem it that. Like a narcissistic relationship can be considered and comparable to a cult. A cult may have more than, you know, one member, but can it have one member? You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to look into the indoctrination of this and really understanding the psychology behind all these type of things, because, you know, I experience it. Like, so I've even though I hold myself accountable, and even if I was to go to the extreme of doing some of the things that other members done, I would still feel like you have to hold yourself accountable in order to take your power back, in order to make change. So doing negative things in this environment, because I have a belief system that no environment can bring something out of you that's not in you. So there's lines being drawn. So any cult in the world, like, there's people that come and they go. Actually, I think I read that 80% of people leave, but there's a certain people stay. And those people leave because a line has been crossed. But the people that stay, lines hasn't been crossed. But I can't always say that, because there is some people that I just seen a lady, she said that for 5 years she wanted to leave, but she just couldn't find out how to leave. And I can get that. I can get where, you know, you don't have the solution. You're not getting the thoughts on how to move forward and get out. So I can get where people just, you know, just stay and be stagnated. But from the cult I was in, from my understanding, people didn't want to leave until they left, you know, or until they was released. So I just want to be more, I want to just make sure I'm more empathetic and compassionate about other people's experience, because I feel like I just been so hard in my own healing work, and I'm just like, look, you stayed there, you left, you knew what was going on, you went back. Like, I want to, it's not victim blaming, but I want to like hold the victims accountable, just like you should hold a victimizer. I feel like there's two people that has to come into this, and you have to hold yourself accountable. They look different. Accountability looks different from victim and victimizers, but accountability is key to ascension spiritually. So a victim holding themselves accountable for being in, let's say, a domestic violence situation is to say, damn, I accepted less. I deserve better. Holding yourself accountable, it looks like setting boundaries. It looks like, you know, honoring yourself so that you don't attract that energy in a different form, because all is energy. So just because this man chose to express his anger through violence, don't mean another man or his devalue or his lack of value for a woman or a man, either way in a relationship, their partner lack of value for themselves that shows in the lack of value for their partner through expressing it through domestic violence, don't mean the next person you attract won't show the same lack of value in a different way. Not everybody turns to violence. And I believe violence in these type of situations due to your insecurities is a coping mechanism that you take on as a child that wasn't corrected. So some people, choose manipulation tactics when they don't value another person, or they lack value or have insecurities within themselves. They choose to manipulate. Some people choose to talk very down on you and degrade you verbally, and some people choose to beat your ass. So if you do not want to continuously attract this type of energy, then you have to hold yourself accountable so that you can know that you deserve better. And it's not just you deserve not to get your ass beat. You deserve to be valued. You deserve to, have life spoken into you. You deserve people that truly care for you, in a way that uplifts you. Even if they give tough love, the tough love is not going to feel like degrading. Okay? So, I always go into that, but I like to feel my feelings more by understanding the opposite side. So I have a solution-oriented mindset. So even when I looked into, I started getting into Dr. Louis Farrakhan, and he's like, the white man is the devil, the blue-eyed devil, all this stuff. I felt that for a short period of time, but then I was like, what's the solution? So as much as you want to say, oh, the government is so bad, like these people are so bad, you have to study them. You have to understand them in order to counter what they can do to you. So if you feel like these people are suppressing you, then you have to understand how do they get to suppress you so that you can hold your power and stop giving your power away. This is my belief system. This is how I come to solutions. So when it comes to cults, when it comes to narcissistic relationships, because this situation, this experience isn't the first time I dealt with narcissistic people. So it might be the most extreme to be able to show me myself even more, but it's not the first time. Like I've dealt with people it's the things that this person did in carbonation is not far off from what I've been through. So, that's one reason why I accepted it, because it also told me a lot of truth that helped me resonate with things, because it's like, and then I asked myself, like, am I not letting, so I question myself a lot because I want to be the best person that I can be, right? I want to heal in the most profound ways. So coming into this, the teachings that Nature Boy had taught, it literally helped me so much in my life. So before this, I was very depressed since a child, but having this awareness, I cannot fall in depression anymore because I have this awareness. So there's a certain part of me that holds on to the indoctrination, and I feel like sometimes I question myself, because I'm always questioning myself, like, oh, am I holding on to this based out of fear? Because it made me feel purposeful. Like coming into carbonation, I feel like a lot of people that go into cults, like they're resonating with the information, and it makes them feel like, dang, I found some purpose in my life. Though I've always been ambitious, I've always brought people together, I've always had different things, but the businesses I was into before carbonation, it wasn't really filling me. Like I would envision, okay, I have houses around the world, and they're going to be model houses because I manage models, dancers, actors, music artists. We're going to get together as sisters. No, not as sisters. I was thinking I'm going to bring some women together, and we're going to make money in these model houses around the world. So that vision isn't far off from the vision I have now from communities, but the community vision feels more meaningful in my life. So I cannot let go of this experience or some of this indoctrination, because it literally helps me in my life. So it is what it is. It helps me every day in my life, keeping a healthy perspective. Like all the things that I resonate with, like, yes, and it is hard. It's not easy to separate truth from the lies that was told. But, if you have that ambition and you really want to be better, then you'll do that. But I get why some people can be so victimized that they just, fuck all that. all of it's bad. My experiences versus a lot of other people's experiences was different. You know, though most people, I think it said like 80% of people leave cults. So there's a certain amount of people that do stay. I can't be insensitive to the people who stay and why they stayed, right? I would like to say that you stayed because you resonated. You stayed because your line wasn't crossed. You know, because when your line is crossed, you're like, I'm not doing this no more. I'm leaving. I'll figure it out. But I literally talked to a guy at the cult before I left, and they knew I was leaving, and he was just like, dang, you got a lot of balls. You're going into Babylon. You're going into, you know, I forget what he said. He said basically like hell. You're going into hell. Like when you go there, you're going to be surrounded by people that have different thoughts than you. You're going to be, you know, you're surrounded by a lower frequency, and that's their thoughts. And I'm not going to hold you. I even felt that even when I left, like, okay, not to say they didn't have low frequency thoughts there, but they try to keep a healthy thought frequency, because if you had a different frequency from the people that's in the group in carbonation, then they would feel that. You would feel that. So if you're thinking about leaving, the people are going to feel that thought. And that's just interesting in how people, the psychology of people when they come together and they're on a certain thought frequency, meaning the thoughts they have frequency are similar. So when you have a different thought than the group, it will show in your energy, and people will see that, and they will want to address it, and you'll choose how you're going to express it. But so, you know, he was saying that we have a lot of balls, like, and you know, even when I left, I got into, my mom ended up getting me a condominium, and I was just, you know, I was in there by myself, able to isolate and really think and deprogram and do my therapy sessions. I went on live a lot to talk to different people, because this group attracts a lot of spiritual people, and we talk about perspective on live, and it helped me. But then I had to get off of live. I had to get off of social media and actually do some inner work, because I was thinking about doing my retreats then, and I'm like, there's too many people on some weird stuff. You know, they only want to be around because of this, you know, this situation. So I had to just take a step back. But even being in that condominiums, like the people around me, whether I can hear their thoughts or not, like they were just arguing about dumb shit, you know, drunk, you know, just being weird. Not to say that they're all weird, because I was there for 2 years. Nobody tried me. Nobody stole nothing. You know, they always helped me. They was very kind. It's just their frequency was like, you know, we're going to get drunk. We're going to have fun on the weekends. But their fun, it wasn't my cup of tea type stuff. So it was things that I can understand in different environments. You can feel other people's thoughts. You know, and if you put yourself in an environment where a whole bunch of people thinking negative, you can feel that versus a whole bunch of people thinking positive. So I get where they were coming from, the science behind it, but he was literally scared. He said he was scared to leave because he felt like it don't make logical sense to leave, and you're actually literally going to hell. Not literally. I don't know if a lot of things that they took literally, I did not. You know, so this is where I have to have compassion, because some people probably literally thought they will go to hell if they leave. But what is hell? You know? So in carbonation, hell is a lower frequency of thoughts. So anyways, so I have to understand that people, this is why I want to study this. I want to study indoctrination. Like, people literally believe certain things that I didn't believe. Even with the word Messiah, I believe, yeah, he was a messenger. But I didn't believe, like, he is the one and only savior of the world. You know, because there's people that don't even speak this language. They can't even understand that. So I understood that the message comes in a frequency. It comes in a form. So I'm not saying everything. I never said everything he said was truth. But a lot of things, like going in tune with nature, you know, that being more in tune with nature, we have to do that. There's certain messengers in different cultures and that speak different languages that will tell you, you know, tap into nature more. Like, make sure you're in tune with nature. So I understood the frequency of the truth out of the message. So anyways, I just want to look into it. I just want to look into it more. I want to study it more. I don't know which videos I can actually play on here, but you know, I'm actually looking at this, I don't know, it's a documentary right now or not. It's an interview basically, and they're talking about what is a cult, and one of the ladies was in a cult. So I just want to look into it, like, and understand, and like, I want to understand the psychology of a cult leader. Like, I literally do. Like, sometimes when I talk to Nature Boy, it's like, he be making sense. He sparks my mind. Like, he is a messenger that sparks my mind, but it's also giving delusion. Like, it gives delusion a lot, and then it's just like a certain part of me wants to believe that he's not serious. Like, wants to believe that I want to see. I see the innocence in it. I see his heart to a degree, and I don't know if that's the delusion in me. Literally, like, okay, he called the other day. I don't want to go into this on this. I want to say that he called and he was just saying, like, oh, I can't believe I thought that only the black man was God, the black woman is God. I would never disrespect a black woman again. And then he goes into saying something else that wasn't contradicting to respecting a black woman, but it was aligned with other cult leaders and what they believe. So it's so interesting. I want to study cult leaders, and I wish they had more interviews with cult leaders, but they can be so manipulative that you don't know whether that's their true self or not. And that's why I feel like I really want to do it. Like, I want to interview cult leaders. I want to, not even cult leaders, I just want to talk to Nature Boy, like, for real, like, without him trying to teach me or tell me about myself or tell me who he is, like, from a point where he wants me to follow him. But I want to just understand him for real. Like, I want to understand him for real. Like, when I ask him about his childhood, I don't want you to give me the sad story or all that. I want to know, like, psychologically who you were in certain pivotal points in your life that made you grasp onto certain coping mechanisms. And I'm sure many people feel like, oh, I can heal him. And then some people just like, you know what? That man is gone. That's a dead cause. You know what I'm saying? Like, that man's never going to change. He is who he is. And some people believe that people are born demonic. Like, they're born to be demonic, right? But I just don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe you either, took on certain ideologies or ways of life. Like, for instance, if a child, we take on different ways of coping with the stimuli we're being sent in our environment. So, children can grow up. Man, look, I wish I can articulate this better, but it's just coming to me right now. Like, children could be in an environment where their father is or their mother is very abusive, right? One child can cope with it like, I'm gonna shut down. Another child can cope with it, you know what? I'm gonna love that in that person. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take on that way of expression. So, and I think that's called, and that's why I do want to understand cognitive dissonances more, and MK Ultra, all those type of things. We're gonna study that. But if you got what I just said, like, some people can literally take on different expressions from the signals that they're being sent in their environment. So one child can be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to shut down when somebody raised their voice at me because I don't want to get hit. So they take on that coping mechanism as they get older. So as they get older, they can be subjected to a authoritarian person that can just yell at them and they'll shut down. Somebody else can take on that, like, they're still getting abused as a child, but they're like, look, this is the way my parents show they love me. This is the way I'm supposed to love. You know what I'm saying? And they just cope with it with their minds in the way that they can, in a way that resonates with them. So another belief I have, if a child at a young age, if they're getting this generationally or spiritually, mentally, they're just getting this, oh, I lack empathy. Like, I'm gonna smack this child. They start crying. I don't care. You as an adult, as within a loving village, because it really takes a village. But if you have even one adult, you can still implement certain things if you understand the psychology behind this, to be able to cultivate your child to have empathy, even if they have showing expressions of not. But some people don't know how to deal with that, so they feed that lack of empathy, and that grows with the child. So I want to understand psychology behind this. I don't like how a lot of people say, well, narcissistic people or cult leaders are charismatic. Some people can be charismatic, but use that in a healthy manner. Like there's energy and it can be used in an unhealthy or a healthy way, right? So just because you're a charismatic person doesn't mean that you'll become a cult leader or that you're gonna lead people in an unhealthy manner. See, I would like to look at the difference between a cult and a tribe, right? And I'm just going in my mind, so it's not like I'm studying this right now. And we will get to studying. But a cult and a tribe. Because I like to look at cults as tribes. We're coming together. We're operating as one. We're a family. There may be more laws. There may be, more things to a cult, but a tribe can have those laws too. A tribe can have those ideologies too, that way of life too. So what's the difference? Can a cult be considered a tribe? And so I understand the brainwashing and the, manipulation, but a tribe can do that too. Your family can do that. You can have a parent that believes this is the way of life and they indoctrinate you to believe in this. We were told what God was. We were told how to interact. We were told what's right and wrong. We were told all these things. And because we were young and impressionable, and it's most likely in our genetics, if our parents believe in it, we took on that ideology. So is that a form of indoctrination when we're a child and we're told how to live? But then again, if we let a child be what the child wants to be, it's going to take on certain genetics, and that expression might not be the healthiest way. So we have to be able to create a healthy way for a child to understand what life is and how to express itself in life. So, most people say a cult is something that the majority of people is different than majority of people. They believe in things that most people don't believe in. But a tribe can do that too. A tribe can believe in things that most people don't believe in. So I feel like, we created this definition of what a cult is based on all these different examples that we have of cults or groups of people that went wrong, and then they have one person that they idolize. But there is different groups that's not considered cults that has one person that they idolize. I mean, religion is based on one person, but that person is dead. You know what I'm saying? They're not here to be able to idolize, so they're idolizing someone that is transitioned already. So anyways, the psychology of Eligio Bishop, as he grew up, and it's weird because I don't like talking about it, because it's like we're separating this person's experience from somebody else. Somebody else could grow up the same way, but how they express themselves could be differently. But we'll go into it. As he grew up, as we know, his parents passed away at a young age. He had to go into foster care, and his foster parent, I don't know about parents, but we know his foster mother, did a lot of heinous things to him. Made him bathe in bleach. Always told him he's demonic. And and that's interesting that even the psychology behind somebody telling you you're demonic, it made you read the Bible over and over for a punishment. I've seen another cult leader that actually read the Bible excessively as well as a youngin, and they believed that they were the Messiah for the people as well. A lot of cult leaders have a hurt little boy or little girl in them, and they really want attention. Or it's like they want acceptance. At a young age they didn't have acceptance, or majority of people looked at them as weird, or and that's not to say that only cult leaders go through this though. Many people feel like they're not being accepted, that they're not, that people looking at them as weird and outcasting them and all this, but this thing happens to a specific person maybe. And this is me just going off the top of my head. It's like, what makes a cult leader different from another person? You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, they're charismatic. Other people can be charismatic. Yes, they just, once they find out a purpose, or or a way of doing things, they stand on it. I'm not gonna hold you. One thing that I like about Eligio is that if he and this is a lot of people I follow, and most of them are Taurus, and I question myself, like, why am I so in tune, like, not in tune, but interested in these dark energies, dark humorous people that exude this certain type of leadership. It's not, and I don't know if it's leadership based on competence, but it's more leadership based on confidence. And I question myself on that, but him, how he says what he says, like whatever he believes in, he's going to stand on it. Even if it changes next week, he's going to stand on it in confidence. That's confidence, right? If he believes or if he thinks something about somebody, like let's say when he told them that they're all slaves and that they're here to worship him, like literally that's what they're doing. So he said it to them, like, this is what it is. So that level of confidence is of realness of what you think, because real isn't always right, but it's what they believe to be true, and they speak on it, right? So if you believe that somebody's a slave, most people wouldn't want to say that to somebody's face. Most people would be like, I don't want to hurt their feelings, I'm not gonna be real with them or tell them what I think because I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to make them feel less. And, they have a certain type of compassion with that. But with him, he would look in your face. And with other people I follow will look in your face and say, look, you're not shit. Don't ever think and even have an inkling of thought that you are something. You're a slave. You worship me every day. And people will hear that and be like, oh, like that's just bad and demonic and devilish. But is it from that person's perspective, is that what they're doing? And sometimes that could be considered tough love too, even though it's like talking down on somebody and telling them like you're not shit. But there's different ways to show tough love, right? Some people could say you're not shit, you should be something, you should do something better. And some people say this is what you're doing and show you yourself like you're being a fucking slave. What you gonna do about it? You gonna continue to be it? You should, because that fulfills my ego. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody would say you shouldn't because you could be better than that. Or there's other people that won't say anything to you and just let you be who you are and not help you to ascend.